Hello, welcome back all of you. In today's video lecture, we will discuss about the systems. Till now, we have we studied about the signals, and from today onwards, we'll start the concepts of different types of systems, basic system properties, and all. So, if we try to define a system, we can say that every physical system is broadly categorized by its ability to accept an input such as voltage, current, force, pressure, etc. That means input can be input signal to a system can be anything like voltage, current, pressure, etc. And the system produces an output in response of this input. Output signal that is produced in response to the input signal. So we can say that system uh, is a connection of discrete components which, given as a particular set of input signal, produces a desired output signal. Input signal can be your any kind of signal like voltage, current, pressure, etc. Output is the desired activity that we want to perform, and accordingly the system is being designed. Depending on the required output, we design the system. Some of the simple examples of a system is you can say robot is a system. Robot is a system in which input is kind of an electrical control signal, and the output is you can say the physical motion or action of the robot. So robot is a system. It is a system in which input is your electric control signal, and output is the physical action. Similarly, another simple example of a system can be a filter. Whose input is a signal which is corrupted by noise and interference. So input signal is corrupted by noise, and the output signal is the desired filtered signal. Output signal is the desired signal with required parameters. And one of the broadest classification of a system can be of two types: continuous time system and discrete time system. Continuous time system and discrete time system. In case of continuous time system, the input signal, let us define this. Let's say we have a continuous time system CTS, and the input signal is x of t, and the output signal is y of t. So for in the case of continuous time signal, the input as well as the output signal are both continuous time signal. On the other hand, in case of discrete time system, the input signal is a discrete time signal, and similarly the output signal is a discrete time signal. So this is the broadest classification of any system. Any system can be either classified as continuous time system or discrete time system depending on the type of the input and the output signals. So moving on, we'll discuss some of the basic system properties. So very important topic. The intent of studying the basic system properties is that we learn to analyze how the system interact with the input signal, and depending on which the system can be categorized as, you can say, linear and non-linear system. And time invariant and time variant systems. Next classification is static or dynamic system. Next one is causal and non-causal. Causal and non-causal. And the last one is stable and unstable systems. So under this topic of basic system properties, we'll look at all these classifications, which are really very important when we're dealing with systems. So we'll begin with the first type of the classification, that is linear and non-linear systems. So a system is said to be linear if it follows superposition principle. That is the thumb rule. A system is said to be linear if it follows superposition principle. That is the thumb rule to identify a linear and non-linear system. Now we need to understand what do we mean by superposition principle over here. So superposition principle implies that the response resulting from several input signals can be computed as the sum of responses resulting from each input signal acting alone. That means, in simpler language, we can say that the superposition principle, mathematically it consists of two properties, which is your additivity property and the second one is homogeneity property. Any system satisfying all these two properties simultaneously can be said to follow superposition principle, and hence we can say that the system is a linear system. And the systems which violate any of these two properties, additivity and homogeneity, is said to be a non-linear system. Now let us see what do we exactly mean by additivity property and homogeneity. So we'll begin with the additivity property first. Additivity property simply states that if we have a system and the input signal is, let's say, x1 of t, and the corresponding output is y1t, and similarly if we have another set of input which is x2t, and corresponding to that the output is y2t. So if we give input signal to this system as x1t plus x2t, combination of these two input signals, if we give this as input to the system, the output should be y1t plus y2t. If such a principle is being followed, we can say that the additivity property is being satisfied. Similarly, let us look at the homogeneity property. So on the similar note, homogeneity property states that if we have a system and input signal to that system is, let's say, x of t, and the corresponding output is y of t, and let's say if we apply another input signal, that is a times x of t, where a is any constant value, and the resultant output is a times y of t. If this principle is being followed, then we can say that the system follows homogeneity property. So any system following these two properties, additivity and homogeneity, is said to follow superposition principle. So a system has to follow these two properties simultaneously. Then we can say the system is following the superposition principle, hence it is a linear system. So if we analyze these two properties simultaneously, so additivity plus homogeneity, this leads to superposition principle. Let us analyze this superposition principle mathematically. Let's say we have a system with us, and if we apply an input to this system as a times x1t plus b times x2t, and the corresponding output is, let's say, a times y1t plus b times y2t, where x1t is the input and y1t is the corresponding output. Similarly, x2t is the input and y2t is the corresponding output. If this kind of a scenario is being satisfied, then we can say that the system is following the superposition principle. Hence, the system is a linear system. So this is how we can identify any given system as a linear system or a non-linear system. We'll do some examples based on this that will give you a better picture how we can identify a system as a linear or a non-linear system. Let's take up a very simple example. We are given with a system whose input is, let's say, x of t, and output is y of t, and y of t is equal to t times x of t. So this is the system which acts upon this input signal x of t and produces an output which is t times x of t. So the role of this system is that it multiplies the independent variable t to the input signal which has the argument of independent variable. Alright, so we need to check the linearity of this system. We need to comment on the linearity of this system. Input is xt, output is t times of xt, which is yt. Alright, let us see how do we analyze how do we identify whether the system is linear or non-linear. See this, let's say we have a system and the input is x1t, we assume the input is x1t, so the corresponding output should be t times of x1t, right? Because this is what the system does to the input signal. It multiplies the input signal with a independent time variable t. Alright, this is the function of the system. It multiplies the input signal, whatever will be the input signal, it multiplies it with a independent variable. Similarly, if we keep another input signal x of 2t, so the corresponding output would be t times of x of 2t, correct? Now, if we say that if we multiply a and b, some constant a and b value to the input signal, what will be the corresponding output? It will be simply a times of this and b times of this, because what system does is it only multiplies the input signal, whatever be the input signal, by a variable, independent variable t. So now the input signal is a times of x1t, so the output will be a times x1t into t. Alright. So if we add these two output, it becomes a times t x1t plus b times t x2 t. Alright. Now if we use the same system and we give input as a times x1t plus b times x2t, what should be the output? Output will be t times of the input signal. Input signal is this entire signal is the input signal. So it will be t times of a x1t plus b times of x2t. Okay. If these two terms are equal, then we can say that the additivity as well as the homogeneity properties are being satisfied. The system follows superposition principle and hence it is a linear system. So in this case we can clearly see that this is equal to this, right? I'll repeat once again this example. We are given with a system whose input is x of t and the output is t times of x of t. So that the function of system is that it multiplies the input signal with an independent variable t. That is the function of the system. Now let us see how do we identify the linearity of the system. We use the same system and we give input as a times of x1t. So the corresponding output should be a times t into x1t, because the system multiplies the input signal by independent variable t. Similarly, if the input is b times x2t, the output will be b times t into x2t. Alright. Now if we add these two and if we try to analyze if we say that the output will be summation of these two. Okay, if we add these two, the input signal becomes this. Correct. If we add this and this, the input signal becomes a x1t plus b x2t. Okay, and the corresponding output will be what? Because the system remains same, the corresponding output will be t times of the input signal this. If this output is equal to sum of the individual outputs standing alone, if this output is equal to the sum of the individual outputs, then we can say that the additivity and the homogeneity properties are satisfied. System follows superposition principle, hence the system is a linear system. So we can easily comment on the linearity of the system, that it is a linear system. Let us analyze one more example. In this case, we are given with a system, input is x of t and the output, corresponding output to x of t is yt, which is given as equal to x square of t. So the function of the system here can be seen that it squares the input signal. Whatever is the input signal, it just squares the input signal. This is the function of the system here. And again, we need to comment on the linearity of this system, whether it is linear or non-linear system. Okay, we will follow the same process. We'll use the same system and we'll give input as a times xt. What should be the corresponding output? The function of system is that it squares the input signal, whatever is the input signal. So input signal over here is a times xt. So the output will be a square x square t. Correct. Similarly, if we let's name it as x1 and x1 here. Similarly, if we take input signal as b times x2t, the corresponding output would be b square x2 square t. Correct. Now, if we take the same system and we take input as a times x1t plus b times x2t, what will be the corresponding output? The function of system is that it squares the input signal. So in this case, this is the entire input signal, a times x1t plus b times x2t. So the output will be square of this entire input signal, that is a x1t plus b times x2t whole square. This will be the output. Now let us analyze whether the system is linear or non-linear. Let us verify whether this output is equal to the sum of individual outputs or not. This is the sum of individual outputs, this plus this, right? This term plus this term. Are these two equal? No. These two terms are not equal. Hence, we can say that the system does not follow superposition principle. Hence, a non-linear system. This system is a non-linear system. Let us take one more example, this time based on the discrete time systems. Let us say we have a system whose input is x of n and the output is y of n, and y of n is equal to twice of x of n minus 3. And again, we need to comment on the linearity of the given system, whether it is linear or non-linear. Input is x of n, output is 2xn minus 3. So the function of the system is that it multiplies the input signal by 2 and subtract 3. This is the function that the system is performing, right? Now let us follow the same process to identify the linearity of this system. So let's say we use the same system and we use input signal a times of x1n. what will be the corresponding output? System multiplies the input signal by 2. So this is the input signal. So system will multiply this by 2, 2 twice of a, x1 of n, and then subtract 3 from it. So this will be the corresponding output. Similarly, if we take the input as b times of x2n, the corresponding output will be twice of b x2n minus 3, right? Now let us use the same system, and if we take input as a times x1 of n plus b times x2 of n, that is sum of these two inputs, the corresponding output of the system should be what? System multiplies the entire input signal by 2, that means twice of a x1n plus b x2n, and subtracts 3 from the signal, right? So this is the output signal corresponding to the sum of these two individual input signals. Now let us analyze the linearity by comparing this output with some of the individual outputs. Are these two equal? No, these two are not equal. Hence we can say that system does not follow the superposition principle, hence a non-linear system. So this is how we identify the linearity of a system, whether the system is a linear or a non-linear type of system. So based on the above concept of linearity, just try to attempt these 4 questions. You need to comment on the linearity of the given system, where the input signal is x of t and the output signal is y of t, and these 4 different equations describe 4 different systems, and you need to comment on the linearity of these 4 systems. Input signal is x of t, the output signal is y of t. Attempt these 4 questions and we can take up if you have any doubts in your next live session. Moving on to the next type of classification, that is time invariant and time variant systems. So conceptually, a system is time invariant if the behavior and the characteristic of the system are fixed over time. So you can say that if behavior and characteristic of system are fixed over time, such a system is known as time invariant system. Or in other words, we can say that a system is said to be time invariant if a time shift in the input signal causes an identical time shift in the output signal. A time shift in the input signal causes an identical shift in the output signal. Such a system is known as time invariant system. That means if we have a system and let's say the input is x of t and the corresponding output is y of t. So if we shift the input signal by t naught, if the output signal is y t minus t naught, that means a time shift in the input results in a similar time shift in the output, then the system is said to be time invariant. And similarly, we can define this time variance and invariance for discrete time systems as well. The concept will remain same. A time shift in the input, if a time shift in the input results in an identical time shift in the output of a discrete time signal, then the system is known to be time invariant system. So such a system is known as time invariant system. the behavior and the characteristic of the system are fixed over time, and the systems which are not time invariant are time variant systems. Next important concept is to identify the time variance. How to identify whether a system is time variant or time invariant. Identification of time variance. Alright, so the method used to identify whether a system is variant or invariant is that we have a system with input, let's say x of t, and the corresponding output is y of t. So we need to analyze two different types of outputs, that is y t minus t naught, which we call as delayed response, and another one is y t comma t naught. We can denote it by y t comma t naught. It is the response to delayed input. Response to delayed input. If these two outputs, we need to check these two outputs. If these two outputs are equal, then we say the system is time invariant. That is why if t minus t naught is equal to y t comma t naught, then we can say the system is time invariant system. Time invariant. So for any given system, we need to check these two type of outputs, that is the delayed response and response to delayed input. Now let us see how do we find out these two things, delayed response and response to delayed input. Let's say we are given with a system, input is x of t, corresponding output is y of t, and then we provide a delay of t naught, and the output is y t minus t naught. So this is how we find out delayed response. First we find out the response and then we provide a delay of t naught. So this is known as delayed response. And on the other hand, if you look at the other term, thing, that is response to delayed input, that means we first provide the delay of t naught to the input signal xt. The resultant will be x of t minus t naught, and then we pass it through a system. Then the output resultant will be y t comma t naught. It is nothing but response to delayed input. If these two outputs are equal, then we can say the system is time invariant system. Okay, so let us analyze this concept of time variance and invariance with the help of some examples that will give you a better idea how to identify whether a system is time invariant or time variant. Let us take a simple example, yt is equal to txt. That means we have a system whose input is x of t and the output is yt, which is equal to t times x of t. Okay, so in order to identify the time variance and invariance, we need to find out the delayed response and response to the delayed input. Okay, so let us find out these two terms one by one. So we provide input as x of t, resultant output will be t times x of t. The function of the system here is to multiply the given input signal by the independent variable t. We have already seen this particular example to identify the linearity of the system. We are using the same example over here. And then we provide the delay by t naught. So we provide delay by t naught, that means wherever you have the independent variable t, that will be replaced by t minus t naught. That means it becomes t minus t naught times x t minus t naught. So this is your delayed response, y t minus t naught. Similarly, let us find out response to the delayed input. That means first we provide the delay by t naught to the input signal. The output will be x t minus t naught, and then we pass this delayed input to the system. What will be the expected output? The function of the system, we know the function of the system is that it multiplies the input signal x of t by independent variable. Whatever be the input signal, it will multiply it with the independent variable t. So now the input signal is x t minus t naught. So the output will be t multiplied by x t minus t naught. So this is your response to the delayed input, that is y t comma t naught. Now let us analyze whether the delayed response and input to the delayed response to the delayed input are same or not. Clearly we can see that these two terms are not equal, that is y t minus t naught, the delayed response is not equal to the response to the delayed input t comma t naught. Hence we can say the system is time variant. Always remember the thumb rule is, if these two terms are equal, then the system is time invariant, or the behavior or the characteristic of the system remains fixed. And if they are not equal, the system is a time variant system. Let us do one more example. We'll take the similar example as we took for the case of linearity of a system. Yt equal to x square of t. That means we have a system whose input is x of t and the output is yt, which is nothing but equal to x square of t. So the function of system is that it squares up the input signal. Irrespective of the given input signal, it will just square up the input signal. So first we will apply the same process. We find out the delayed response xt. The output will be x square t, and then we provide a delay by t naught. Output will be x square t minus t naught. Okay, so this is your delayed response y t minus t naught. So next we'll find out the response to the delayed input. So first we'll delay the input signal by t naught. Resultant will be x t minus t naught, and then we'll pass it through the system. The function of the system we know here is it squares the input signal. Okay, so this is the input signal here, x t minus t naught. When it passes through the system, it will split squared up. So the output will be x square t minus t naught. This is the response to the delayed input t comma t naught. Now let us compare these two, the delayed response and the input response to the delayed input. Now we can see clearly these two are equal, that is y t minus t naught is equal to y t comma t naught. The delayed response is equal to response to the delayed input. Hence we can say that the system is a time invariant system. So based on the above concept of time variance and invariance, you can do these three questions. These are some practice questions, and in case you have any doubt, we can take up those in the next live session. So that is all in this video. We continue with the different systems in the coming lectures, like causal system, non-causal system, stable, non-stable, and so on. Thank you so much.